I'd make $600-700 on my lunch break in 30 minutes. I had taxis and semis that would call me 4 or 5 times a week. There's over 500 or 600 transactions. Every single one of those is a felony.
When I've stolen a bunch of money from the bank, I'm pretty generous with their money too.
Yeah. Maybe a month into it, my co-defendant told me that he's getting ready to leave the state because he's got another job from this construction company that he's moving to, like a different state or whatever. And he has a gas card that he's been using to obviously fill up the fleet for the construction company, all the trucks, and then he's like, I've been using it for my personal vehicle. And then he's like, so I get free gas. And then I've been filling up, my brothers. I've been filling up this person. I've been doing this.
Yeah, because they have a ton of vehicles that have to be, so they're not going to notice a slight fluctuation of a few hundred here, a few hundred there.
No, because they have an entire fleet. And so he's getting ready to take off. And he's like, you can have this if you want. I was like, well, yeah, I'll get free gas because then I can save money for my drugs. But he's like, you can make money off of it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I charge people just blah, I don't know, I'll take $20 off, or just like for my friends. And I was like, just that idea, just the idea that he planted, like I just took off with it, totally took off with it. I ended up, so I would sit at any gas station. So in Alaska, there's Tesoros. That's what the gas stations are. And I would sit there. I'd wait in my car, and I'd go up to anybody. I mean, usually it's like little old ladies or whoever. And I had like a sales pitch for this gas card. So I'd go up to them and be like, oh, ma'am, I have a gas card from the state, and I have to use a specified amount of gallons. And if I don't, they're not going to reimburse me these gallons. I just totally made that up the first time that I went up to this lady and I asked. And I was like, I'll fill up your vehicle and I'll take $20 off. Like if it's $80, just give me $60 cash. And she's like, oh yeah, of course, because she thinks she's like helping me out.
Right.
And I mean, I didn't necessarily look like I was strung out on drugs or anything.
Right.
And in Alaska, I mean, you know, and people are up, like it's not hard to miss.
Right.
And so I kept that little sales pitch, and I would go up like, shit. I'd go from one person, like just right there, and then on the other side, I'd give them the same sales pitch, and they'd be like, yeah, for sure, yeah, whatever. Like however much it is, like I just take $20 off, or I'll do this, or just how much cash do you have right now? I'll fill it up, just give me all your cash. And they're like, oh, all right, yeah, for sure. And then I'm still working full time. And then on my lunch breaks, I would go do this. And so just in the span of like at a lunch break and talking to 3 or 4 people with that little sales pitch, I'd make $600-700 on my lunch break in 30 minutes.
Right.
And then on the weekends, that's pretty much where I spent most of my time. And then all this money in Alaska got up to one pill was $200 to $300 for one pill.
For an 80.
For an 80.
So
yes.
What is that a milligram? Like fucking, that's like $10-15 a milligram?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was outrageously priced. And even me making $800 a day, I could get maybe 2 or 3 pills.
Right.
And my tolerance is already going through the roof. So that's enough to keep me well.
Right.
And so I'd wake up and just, I don't have any energy, I'm sick. So I'd then when you're sick and withdrawing, and I go up to these gas stations and like, I'm just like, I just need, like I'm fumbling over my words and shit. And still, it still worked.
Yeah. You're giving people a reason to do it, even if they think, something's up. But let's face it, if I get 15 gallons of gas, they fills up my tank. Like I don't have to give them the money until after. So yeah, sure. Let's see what happens here, bro.
Right.
The card works. It fills it up. Cool.
Yeah.
Like if the cop showed up, I'd be like, whoa, he told me this and that. I didn't know.
Yeah, they're totally unsuspected. They have no idea.
Even if they had an idea, at least you gave them an excuse. No, you don't understand. This is what he said. Golly gee whiz. Are you saying the card was stolen, officer?
Yeah.
Exactly. At least. Yeah. To me, I would immediately.
Well, yeah, of course, other people would be like, yeah, this seems pretty fishy.
Yeah.
But the way that I said it, and then I mean, of course, like I said, probably the way that I looked probably helped a little bit better too.
Right.
And so it got to the point where I would have, like, I was a gas dealer pretty much. I had taxis and semis. So semis.
I was thinking I would have gone straight to a truck stop.
Yeah.
Because those guys are spending $1,000.
Exactly. And that's what I ended up doing. And so I had taxis and semis that would call me probably, 4 or 5 times a week. Their semi is like $500-$600.
Wow.
And semis, they have to pay for their own gas. And I was like, dude, I'll take $200 off of that, even if it's 7 or 8. And he's like, no doubt.
Right.
Here you go, man. And that went on for, so
you can be pretty generous when it's somebody else's money. I'm always when I've stolen a bunch of money from the bank, I'm pretty generous with their money too.
Yeah.
It's easy. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Makes you feel like, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, I'm doing you a great favor while committing a felony.
I'm a good person.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you a break. $200 off. No.
I'm feeling a little generous today.
Right. With my employer's money. Sorry. So, okay. So it's not even your employer.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't even know who this construction company is. And so then about, let's say, 40 to 45 days later of me doing this, I'm back in the shop at the small engine repair shop that I was working at. And my boss comes back and I'm like sharpening a chain. And he's like, Matt, there's a detective up front to see you. And I was like, oh. And I was like,
me?
Yeah. And
no, go back and make sure he's got the right guy.
Yeah. So when I walk through and I see him, he's in a suit and he's got his badge on his hip and everything. And he was very cordial. And he goes, hey, I'm here to see you about, he's like, And I was like,
you need some gas. That's what I think. I'll meet you down. I'll meet you at the Circle K.
Yeah, since you're a cop, I'll give you 50% off.
$50, yeah, 50%.
And so he's like, I'm sure you know. And I tried to play stupid. I was like, no. What do you mean? What are you here for?
Golly, geez, officer.
And then he's like, I figured you would say that. And then he goes like, grab his briefcase, plop. It's like this thick, big manila folder.
This is at your work. Is your boss there? Or are you in like a back room?
No, I'm in the front counter.
And your boss is sitting there going, "Whoa, boy, you look like you're in trouble. I don't know what you've been up to."
They were hanging out behind, and I know that they were like, they had to know.
Did you ever fill their tanks up?
No.
I was going to say, as soon as he said gas, they both turned around and bolt.
Yeah. No, they didn't know. They were unsuspecting. And so, like, the counter, the way it is, like, there's the front counter, and then you can go over to the side where it's like a little bit more personal. So we go over there, and that's when he plops it out and opens it up, and he's like, all right, so this is you, obviously. My face blown up in a picture. Flips it open. He's like, here is you getting out of your car, filling up this person. Here is you getting out of your car, inserting the card, filling up this person. Flips it. It's just over and over and over.
Are you ready to elevate your wallet game? Meet the Extra Wallet, designed for style and security. With RFID protection, your cards are safe from digital theft, keeping you worry-free. Need quick access? The innovative pop-up mechanism lets your card slide out at the push of a button. Plus, its slim design makes it easy to carry and incredibly stylish. Choose from a variety of colors and designs. Perfect for both him and her. And if you ever misplace it, don't worry. The Extra Wallet is trackable with the Finder card. Just tap to locate it. The Extra Wallet is the perfect gift for any occasion. Don't miss the Extra Fall Sale from September 30th to November 7th. Use the promo code TRUECRIME at checkout for even more savings on top of the existing deals. That's promo code TRUECRIME. The link will be in the description box.
And then on the other side, he's like, so you see all these transactions? There's over like 500 or 600 transactions that you have here, and every single one of those is a felony. And I was like, okay.
Say, first of all, officer, you've done amazing work here.
Yeah.
You've done a good job.
Yeah.
And he does look a lot like me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you find this guy. Nobody's more upset about this than me.
Yeah.
Identity theft.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no shit.
So you got to be faster, bro.
I know. I just took it. I was like, dude, yeah, you got me. Like, there's no denying it. And so I was like, okay, so what is that? He's like, every time he swiped, it's a felony. So what do you mean? I have 500 felonies against me right now? And he's like, well, I mean, due to the sheer amount that you made within 45 days, which ended up being $21,000, he's like, I just want to let you know that the FBI is going to be picking this up because this is no longer a state investigation.
Oh, okay. I thought this guy was the FBI.
No,
he was a detective.
He was just a detective, and he was letting me know, like, we got you.
Pack your bags.
Yeah, we're still doing like our investigation and everything. I'm not here to arrest you, but I want to let you know that the FBI is going to be picking this up. And so I was like, what do you think? How much time do you think I'm looking at? Like, what? I was just pale. I was a ghost. I keep hitting this thing. God damn it.
Sorry.
And like, I was just, pale, sweating. And after that encounter, he's like, obviously,
now I've got to go through detox.
Yeah.
I got to go to jail. I got to go through detox. I'm already up right now.
But so he said, I'm not here to arrest you. So he's like, but obviously, I'm going to need that card.
Yeah.
And I was like, here you go. Yeah. You can take that. And he's like, I'm not here to arrest you. We're still doing our investigation. And so you're going to have to go check in with a pretrial federal probation officer. So I have to go to the federal building. And so I go and meet my federal PO, and she's like, so you're on pretrial.
Okay, well, you went from, immediately went from this guy just asking you questions. He just told you go downtown. Like, you didn't. Did they give you a public defender or anything?
No, he said
he just said show up and sign in.
I think he gave me like a 72 hours or something
to turn yourself in.
To check in with the pretrial, because he said that the investigation's still going and we're not going to arrest you yet. Like,
they're like so nice. Like, I need to go to Alaska. Like, they came in, they're like nice to you. Like, they're like,
they were.
You got 72 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry what you're going through, buddy. You made some bad decisions. Like,
yeah.
I've never talked to that guy. Never.
I mean, looking back on it, it was probably the easiest way to ever get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I go and see my federal PO, and then so we start pretrial. And obviously, I'm still doing drugs, and at the time, probably.
Did you have to piss?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm gonna give you UAs, and I failed the first time, of course. Surprise, surprise.
What does that stand for now? And you fail. Well, if you failed, like, did they? Well, they can't revoke your probation. You don't have probation.
You're on pretrial.
You just signed it. You didn't. You just okay.
Yeah.
Because like, if you were on probation, then you are on pretrial. If you're on pretrial, then they could lock you up for that, right? Can't they lock you up? No, they won't really lock you up anyway. You haven't been charged. You haven't been
sentenced.
You haven't been sentenced to anything. I don't know. Yeah, you're okay. So then why even give you a piss test?
I don't know. They were trying to clean me up before I went in or something. I don't know. They were trying to give me some rehabilitation in some way.
Right.
But
they're gonna get you healthy before they knock your head off.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's nice. It's nice. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So I fail it, and she's like, "Well, obviously you have opiates in your system. So you gotta." Next week, I'm going to try to get you to go to like an inpatient program or do something, because like, if you keep doing this, we will put you in. We're going to take you in, so you're no longer on pretrial while you're under investigation.
Can I ask you a question? What did your parents say? Like, have you told you go straight home and say, Dad?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I told them, I laid it all out, because they knew I was up to something. Yeah. Obviously, like I was up to something, and they knew, like, I'm sitting at dinner and doing the nodding out or watching TV, and
I'm so sleepy. I'm working so hard.
Yeah. I've been working 12-hour days. All this gas and stuff, and man, people wearing me out, wanting gas all the time. And so I tell them, I was like, yeah. So cop came and pretty much caught me, and my dad, he was like, yeah, well, I figured you were up to something. So, I mean, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, I don't know. What do I do? He's like, well, I mean, you can try to get clean. You need to do something before to try to show the judge that you're trying to change and try to make a difference, and that you're, they feel some remorse for what you've done for charging this company, over $20,000 in 40 days. Like, you put
which probably ended up having to pay at the most $50. That once they called the gas company and said,
this is all
or the credit card company, this is a fraudulent charge, someone's been caught, then they write that off immediately. And the most they can charge them under the Electronic Transfer Act is like $50, and they don't even charge them that. So they have to reimburse them within like 24 hours. So you didn't really cost them anything. They did have to make some phone calls, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Which was agonizing, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. And then, so after, that was
your dad. So your dad was saying, sorry.
Yeah. He knew I was up to something. And my mom she's very sensitive, and she was crying. And I know that, like, I broke her heart. But my dad, he's not hard to read. He's just a very, what's the word? What is it? Mellow. Yeah, he's mellow. Very mellow. I've never seen him angry at all. But shit. I forgot where I was.
So he was your mom was upset, and your dad was kind of like, look, you got to get clean.
Yeah.
You got to get your shit straight. Try and show the judge that you're changing.
Yeah. And then, so I go through, I'm trying to stop, and I'm getting sick. I don't have there's no resources in Fairbanks. We have one rehab. That's it. Like, if I came to Florida, there's rehabs everywhere. Jesus Christ. But there's only one in Fairbanks, and there was limited bed space. Can't get in there for months. So like, they expect you to, like, I have to keep up my habit for 2 months until I can get in there. Is that what you're saying? Like,
I like that. I like it. That's the drug dealer mentality. So what you're saying is, I have to keep my habit. I have to keep this going for 2 months.
Yeah, until you can.
And you definitely don't want to go to prison. You don't want to get pulled into the holding cell and detox in the holding cell.
But inevitably, that's what happened, because I could no longer afford in Fairbanks at the time, because then they were becoming so rare that they stopped making them, and they started making the OPs, and I can't smoke those. I want the instant high. I want to smoke them. And so it comes along, way cheaper. You can get it for $40-$50 for a point, 0.1, or you can get like a half a gram for $100, and it's way stronger. Or sometimes, depending on where you got it. And it was like the black tar kind, and so I started to switch to that because it was cheaper, and the small engine shop still kept me employed, thankfully.
Nice.
I still worked there. And then towards the end of, so I got to talk to the public defender, federal public defender, and she wasn't very nice. She just kind of laid it out on me and told me about the point system and everything. And she's like, they'll take your childhood, your petty theft, DUI. Like, I had a theft for under $4. Like, that's a point. And then I had criminal history. They'll keep every single little thing.
They'll bump up your criminal history. Every single time you've ever been in trouble. So you could have been arrested once for a DUI. You could have been arrested 2 years later for shoplifting. And now when you get to sentencing, you're at a criminal history level of 3.
Right.
So it's like, so you're already instead of having like being at like a level 6, you're at like a level 13, and at a level 8, you're going to prison.
Right.
So you're already done.
Yep.
No matter what.
So and then after meeting her,
I was just clarifying that so that people understand.
Yeah.
So even though all those charges are ridiculously stupid charges, it doesn't matter. Every one of those is going to count for more and more months in prison.
Speeding tickets, even.
Right.
Yeah. Any kind of it's ridiculous. But so she tells me about that and tells me I think it was around 16 points or something. And at the time I was on state probation. So I had a SIS, suspended in position of sentence, that was called, I believe. for a forgery that I did. And so as long as I didn't get in trouble for 2 years.
What was the forgery for?
I was like for $300 or something. I mean, I was withdrawing. I just found a check and $300, and I went to the bank that it was, and they're like, "Oh yeah, hold on just a sec. Yeah, hold on. Well, one more second."
And waiting for the sheriff.
Yeah.
Waiting for the deputies.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they're here. They're here.
That's exactly what happened. They're like, "Oh, one more minute," and I'm sitting in the drive-through, and then cops come around on both sides, and then I mean, I was like that. I was being an addict. You're willing to do anything at any cost. Yeah. Like I had no regard for anybody's feelings, or I just didn't care. Like
and your risk versus reward is vastly skewed, because you're willing to risk anything to stay high because you're in such pain.
Yeah, I mean, you get to the point where you just don't want to be sick. It's just the worst feeling.
It's funny too how especially the opiate guys always describe it as being just like being sick.
It's like the worst.
It's like their bones ache. Like it's a different, like compared to like other people that I've talked to that go through withdrawals. Like they always describe it as being like violently like ill. Your whole body's aching. Yes. Your bones hurt. Like, yeah. I've always heard that. Like, bro, like literally your bones ache.
You like alligator roll all night, and like there was a point where I had a cell that was right across from the shower. So like I'd be freezing, kind of hot flashes and bones hurting. So I'd run into the shower, and I'd sit in there for 15 seconds. And then run across to my cell and to get under the blanket so I could just finally sleep for maybe 30 seconds, because you can't sleep either. But that's another.
The forgery. So the forgery, you did the forgery. You're on state probation for that already.
Mm-hmm.
And you're on federal probation, and you're trying to get into a drug rehab.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but it never happened.
No, well, you keep failing the UAs.
Yeah. And so
they're really very unfair to criminals.
Yeah. And so it just leads up to, I think it was another 6, maybe not even that long, 4 or 5 months later, they get up to like the pretrial, and then the some court dates, like there's a court date before your sentencing. It's like
you accept your acceptance of your plea.
Yeah.
You go and you say, yeah, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty plea, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the guilty plea is actually when they arrested me on the spot. But I had a few court dates before that, just like,
These like an arraignment, like you were processed. They took your fingerprints, they took a picture of you.
Yeah.
Right, that whole thing. So you were being arraigned. They let you out immediately on OR bond, like you didn't put up any money, right? They just
No. Yeah, I was never incarcerated until the date of my sentencing. Yeah. And so on that day, I have right here 2/21/11 when I was sentenced. And I go in there, and my co-defendant, he's already been sentenced. He's never had anything on his record. So he gets probation, because I mean, obviously through when I was talking to the investigator, he's like, I just want to know when you came into possession of this card. And I was like, whenever you see it spike, like whenever you see it being swiped every day, that's me.
Right.
So like they calculated the differences and everything, and
they know it's his card.
Yeah.
He took a plea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he just got probation.
Yeah.
That was it. And so come to mind, I had written out like a little letter just to, kind of level with him, be like, I'm not an awful person. Like, I'm not evil. I'm not trying to do this to try to just, everybody over. Like, I have a problem. I'm an addict. Like, I have issues.
To who?
I'm saying this to the courtroom. I'm saying this to the judge. And I was just, letting them know, like, I feel remorse for what I did. It's awful. It's stupid. I mean, it's just a very immature way of trying to deal with my addiction. And I said, I mean, if it wasn't for the case of me being addicted to drugs, this wouldn't be happening, obviously. And he actually kind of leveled with me, and he's like, I have a daughter that's caught up in that stuff right now. And I feel for you, kid. I honestly feel like you need a rehabilitation more than you need a prison sentence. But due to the sheer amount of money that you made within the 45 days or whatever, like you got to be sentenced to something.
Right. What were they already recommending? What was probation recommending?
16 to 18 months.
16 to 18 months?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Okay. For 21 grand?
Yeah. It was because of all my little priors, my little points.
I don't know why I'm looking at Connor. He's not going to help. He doesn't understand. But he looked at me like, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's outright. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know people have sold a couple $100,000 and ended up with probation. Mm-hmm. So
it was because
it's all of your criminal history level.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what led up to me having to have that much. And what he said is like, I have to sentence you to something, obviously. So I'm going to give you 3 months. I was like, 3 months. Okay. I've never done any time at the time. Like I've done 3 days maybe for driving without a license, because at that time, driving without a license was a jailable offense. And I think I had a DUI or something, and never done any time before. So he sentenced me. I was doing up to that day. I smoked before I went and got sentenced. And he told me that, and then both my parents there, my mom was crying, and like I kind of broke down. I was like, all right, here I go. And then they handcuffed me and they put me in a little federal holding cell.
Kind of broke down, bro. I cried like a small child.
Dude, yeah. Yeah.
Like I was inconsolable.
Yeah.
I got a considerable amount of more time than you, but it doesn't matter if it's a month.
No.
It's devastating.
Yeah, because you're getting taken away from everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially for your first time ever. Like you get taken away.
You have to go through detox? Or
yes.
you have to go through withdrawals?
I have to go withdrawals.
Good times.
Yeah. So then from there, they send me to FCC, Fairbanks Correctional Center. And
question, when they locked you up right there in the courtroom and they lead you away, the marshal leads you away, right? Mm-hmm. They lead you down the hallway.
Mm-hmm. And then they put me in a little gate.
Right.
And they leave me there until they're ready to transport.
All right.
Which the federal building to FCC is 3 miles away. But I'm in there for like 4 hours. And just with me in my head and my thoughts, and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I'm so fucking stupid. I'm never going to do this again. Like this, I need to change my life around. I need to do something. And finally, after 3 or 4 hours of me in there, bawling my eyes out and fucking beating myself up and saying how much I like slandered my last name, hurt my parents and all this. Everything goes through your head.
Yeah.
Just the most awful things you can think of. And they come and get me, and they handcuff me and go to FCC. And then like by that night, I'm already tossing and turning. And FCC, like there's a lot of people in there that are going through the same shit. There's a lot of people that are going through withdrawals. So like,
it's a major problem in Alaska, right? Isn't it?
At that time,
okay.
It was the epidemic was huge. It was really big. Yeah, back in 2010, 2011, that was the main thing. There was a lot of people doing it, and so I get to FCC, and of course I know quite a few people in there because it's just a small town. And they're like, here, this will help. Take some candy, and like whatever, anything that'll help. And he's like, make sure you go take a shower, go do this, and like everybody knows that I'm going through withdrawals, so they're like, just leave them alone and let them sleep it off, because there's there's A wing, B wing, and C wing, and A wing is the higher like. Higher security, and then B wing is like the low level, and then C wing is the workers, and B wing is just like it's disgusting. Like it's like the kind where you just look down and there's like mold and dripping water onto like the cement, and all the paint's scratched off, and it's not very clean.
Right.
And so yeah, I'm kicking for 7 to 10 days before I start coming out of it, and coming out of my cell and eat and kind of socialize and talking to a few guys that I know outside of there, but that they're in as well. And then like I start to understand some of because I've never done time. I know that there's certain politics, certain things you should do. Like in jail, it's not there's no politics in FCC really,
right,
at all.
Yeah, there's too mixed up. There's not enough guys to get together to be dangerous.
It's whites and natives.
Yeah,
that's it. So after 20, 30 days, like I'm playing spades, playing spades with these guys, and I'm eating, hanging out. I'm like, this ain't too bad. I can do this. I can do this for what? I've been here for 28 days. I can do this for 70 more. This is easy. Maybe they won't even take me to federal pen or federal FCI. And then on day 30, they go over the intercom, Lalon, roll it up. And I was like, and everybody's like, oh shit, federale, here we go. And yeah, I knew. So I rolled it up. I mean, all I have is my blankets and I have my paperwork. So you throw your sheets and your blankets in the bin, and so they walk me up to booking. So it's no longer just the correctional officers. I walk over, and then there's the FBI. So they got I always know they're FBI because they got their tan pants and their.
You mean the U.S. Marshals?
Yes. Yeah, the
Okay.
U.S. Marshals.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, and so I think there was maybe 2 or 3. I think there's 3 total, including me, that were all federal, and we were getting transported. And it's at that time, January, December, February. So it's about February. So it's cold at that.
It's Alaska.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was cold the whole time. I thought it was cold. I didn't know it was a warm spot.
There is for about 3 or 4 months. And
Nice.
yeah, other than that, it's cold. So they chain gang us and put us in the van. And then we fly up to this little private airway. And they put us in the little bush plane and just the little 2 propellers. And so fly us.
Marshals with you the whole time?
Yeah, 2 marshals. They were super chill, comparatively speaking to the marshals that I encountered later. So then I fly to Anchorage, and I go to the Anchorage jail, and at the time I'm like, where am I going? Like, are they just gonna? Am I going to Anchorage? Am I gonna stay here? Like, they don't tell you anything. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So, and then they put me in some podunk cell. They put me in a little tub, like, because there's no bed space anymore. There's 2 bunks, and then they put you in a tub, pretty much, with a mat.
A boat. They call them a boat. It's an orange, right? Was it orange?
It was gray.
It was gray. So
Yeah.
looks like almost like a. What do you call it?
It's like a shallow canoe or something.
Yeah, like a really shitty low boat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, not a canoe, like a kayak, kind of like a kayak canoe kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you stick your mat in there, and then I got some guy up front on the top that's, of course, annoyingly snores every damn night, and then I got the guy on the bottom bunk that's going through withdrawals himself. So I'm on the floor, and this guy is in full-fledged withdrawal, shitting himself and puking, and I'm just like, dude, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm seeing that in perspective. Like, he was like, got to be 50 years old, and he's still going through what I just went through when I was 20 years old. And then it, like, kind of put it in perspective. I was like, dude, I'm not going to be 50 years old and going through this shit anymore.
Right.
No way. I do not want to be that dude. And I was in there for 2 or 3 days. And
you were locked in the cell the whoole time?
21 hour lockdown. So we were just out for breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's it. And in there for 3 days. And then, they bang on the door. Lalon, roll it up. I was like, thank God. I don't care where I go anymore. I don't want to be in here. And I always try asking him, like, where am I going? Like, I can't tell you that. And from there was probably about 10 or 15 federal inmates that were in Anchorage. And I think on this one, so they do the hip restraints to your handcuffs, your hips, and then your feet, and then they attached you to 2 other people, and then put you on the bus. And then from the bus, then we go to another private airport or something, and put us on the plane. And I'm my public defender said that with the amount of time that you have, as far as you're going to go is Seattle, SeaTac. Like there's no other reason why you'd go anywhere else, because you're low level. Like that's as far as you should go. So after I was on the plane heading to Seattle,
right.
And I'm like, okay,
because there's no federal. You told me earlier there's no federal prison in Alaska.
No, there's none. So I know that's where I'm going. I'm like, okay, so I can kind of relax. This is my last destination, and so I get in there and walk in, and it was a whole different kind of feeling, because it's not a jail. It's prison. Jail and prisons are like I didn't realize.
Yeah. Vastly different.
Yeah. So I walk in, and this like a big 2-tier. Were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say something. This was with a plane.
Mm-hmm. No, this is. I'll tell you that.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
So I walk in, and it's a whole different feel, because all the whites approached me. Everybody's like, "Hey, do you need anything? Do you need any food? Do you need it? I mean, socks? Do you need any
shower slides?
Yeah. Do you need a toothbrush? Like."
I got some soups for you. Do you need Keefy coffee?
Exactly.
What do you need, bro? I got a lock for your locker. Give me that back when you go to commissary. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yep. And like this, it was so, I've never experienced something like that. It was like, I just felt like they were like, hey, we're here. Like, if you need us, let me know.
Support group, definitely.
And then, but then I noticed like the other guys that I came with, their race went up to them and did the same thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, and so I go to my cell, and I'm kind of situating myself, and I'm in there with, he was just Mexican. I don't know if he was North Side or South Side or anything, but he was really super chill. I think he was younger than I was. And we have lockers in there, and he's got like cans and cans of like Sprite and Pepsi and all this stuff. He's like, you can have some if you want some. And I was like, I don't want to accept anything from anybody. That's just
you've been told. Yeah. You've been told don't accept anything.
Yeah.
Because then they want something. They want something back from you, Connor.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
It is. Yeah. Remember that time?
You know. Yeah. Remember that.
You're gonna help me out
now. Now I need you to meet me in the shower. So whoa, bro! It was a 7-Up, man. It was a can of soda. What are you?
That does not add up.
That's crazy interest. I don't care. That's crazy interest. Yeah. That's what I used to say. The difference between being in the medium when I was in a medium at Coleman. I was in the medium for like 3 years. Difference between being in the medium prison and being in the low was in the medium. If some guy left a Snickers on your pillow, don't eat it. No. But if they leave it at the medium, you can eat it. Because that dude comes to you and says, hey, man, what, you got my stuff? You.
Yeah.
I ate your Snickers. I might be in your locker later. What room are you in? Yeah. Because they're not going to do anything in the medium. They're pretty much set. They're okay. But, yeah. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. But you don't want to take that Pepsi. Yeah. No. I know. I've heard about you, predator.
Yeah. I know what you're trying to do. Set me up, man. And then, so first night I'm at SeaTac. And just getting comfortable. I'm like, finally, this is where I'm going to be. Laying down. I'm starting to fall asleep. And on my door, Lalonde, roll it up. I was like, you got to be shitting me. Like, no, you got the wrong person. Like, are you sure?
I just got here.
That's what I said. I just got here. He's like, no. He's like, looked at his paperwork. He said, Lalonde. I was like, yes, that's my last name. He said, yeah, roll it up. I was like, okay. I mean... So I don't have anything because I just got here. And so they put me, do the whole wrist restraints, put it to your hips, put it around your ankles, blah, blah, blah. Lead us all out to this shittiest plane I've ever seen. Like, I swear there was duct tape holding this thing together.
Yeah, they're not, it's not Delta.
No.
No, it's not even like what is Spirit? It's not even Spirit. Like,
and it's just a plain gray. Just there's nothing on it.
Yeah, and the stewardesses are horrible. No, they've got shotguns. Yeah, they yell at you the whole time.
Yeah, they're
they
not
won't let you go to the bathroom.
Nope.
I don't give if that light's off or not. You're not going. You just piss yourself.
Yeah,
because you're probably sitting in a seat.
Yeah,
that's been pissed in multiple times.
Probably.
So. Yeah,
it's good stuff. They were, fairly nice. So we all get situated, get on the plane. And we're all sitting there, and then the pilot goes, "Oh, I think we're having a problem with one of our engines, so we're going to have to, everybody's going to have to get off. We're going to have to try to do this again another time.
That's what you want to hear.
Yeah. Especially when you're all restrained and getting ready to fly to another state.
Could you imagine if something happened? Do you ever see that one plane? I hate to say this, but do you remember that one plane that I don't know what it was, a DC whatever? It actually like the top of the plane blew off, and they lost one of the stewardesses flew out. Like if you were chained together with like 5 other guys and one guy goes out, like you're all going out like anal beats. Like you're like, I mean, you're gonna be like it's even one of you could hold on, the other guys are gonna be flapping around hitting the fuselage on the outside.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a pretty strong guy. You'd probably be all right.
I try my best.
So, anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So, the plane's not good.
What an imagination you have.
Sorry. So, the captain said, listen, there's something leaking out of one of the engines. We don't feel good about this.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, we're all getting off and then head back to the anal beads.
That's what I always thought of when they would chain me to the guy in front of me. I was always like, we're like a bunch, and we're all in orange.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you'd have like the paper dresses that they put you in.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, there's like 12 orange guys in orange chained together, and I would always, for some reason, I always thought, anal beads.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd once seen some anal beads. I knew someone, and they were and so I saw and they were orange.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Don't judge me.
I'm not. I mean, okay. Got that covered. We go back in and into the pod, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, everybody's back!" Blah blah, making fun of us. And then that night, one of the white guys, he approached me. He's like, "Hey, we're making a spread for all the white guys." Like, I've never had any like real food
right
since being in. It was always just like what they gave us, and so like in the federal institution, you can order a lot of shit. You can order, pretty much anything, food-wise or drink-wise. And he made us like this big plate of nachos with like sliced up sausage and put jalapenos and cheese and what was it?
The little chubs.
Chubs. The little chubs, and then the squeezed cheese and all the squeezed cheese and all that. And he had it for all the white guys. And that night I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, this was pretty cool. Like, and then that night again, so this is my second night, bang, bang on my door again, the law and roll it up.
4 a.m.
Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, well, I know this time where I'm potentially going. And we all get on there, get situated. There's another problem. Yeah, we're all going to have to get
on the
off.
plane. You got on the plane again?
Mm-hmm. Like, you'd figure that they would check the plane before you get on the prisoners on there. But, yeah. It goes to show where our government money is going. We all fucking get off the plane again. And now the pod's, like, really laughing at us. They're all hollering and shit and making fun of us. And I was like, yeah, we're back. Here we go. Like, yeah, can we get some more nachos? Then, third night, of course, same thing. Repeat. Like, I was expecting it. I wasn't even trying to sleep. I was sitting like this, like on my bunk, waiting for him. And the lawn roll it up. Same thing. We all get on the plane, and then pilot doesn't say anything, so we start rolling back. I'm like, oh, and here we go. Finally going somewhere. I'm gonna die. Take off. Everything seems pretty kosher, and then they give you 2-day-old sandwiches and a little box of juice with your hip restraints, and
they want you to eat them with like this, like
you have to scoot up the chains hard just enough so you can reach down. It's comical watching.
If you drop something, it's just gone.
It's comical watching like the hardest dudes, like tattoos everywhere, buff, and like they're just struggling to try to eat their little sandwich. It's just, I saw a few guys are like that. I'm not even gonna try. And then we land. I don't know where we landed until I got off the plane, because I was like, I'm in Vegas. I can see the Chris Angel pyramid. I can see the Strip. I was like, this is cool. I'm getting all my vacation spots checked off on this, because later I found out that they're moving me because of limited bed space, whatever that means. But that's why they were moving me around. And so they put you on a bus again, and we're driving through. I drive through the Strip like I'm on a bus, just like, oh, this is cool. I'm looking at everything. I've never been to Vegas. And
you still really haven't been to Vegas. Being in the prison transport on the way to prison, driving down the strip, it's not really being to Vegas.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I was in the location of, so I mean, I didn't get to experience, of course, real Vegas. And then we drive past it, and we start going through like this desert, like where there's absolutely nothing. And we pull into it looked like an army base, because you can't see the fence. Like, it's all the ground is above the fence and everything. So you have to go around through where the gates are until you actually can see the prison. And then it was a privately owned federal institution it was just Pahrump FCI, and never heard of the place. So I guess it's a holding or a transport like facility, I guess. I have no idea why they sent me there, but that's where I ended up.
Who owned that facility? Was it like CCA?
I have no idea.
Because there's a bunch of private companies that, like, there's CCA, is it Global? And they build private prisons, and they house federal and state inmates.
Yeah. I was obviously brand new, because I mean, everything was brand new, and they put us all in the little pod, the little holding cell, and they're doing their little classifications and stuff. And finally get out of my cuffs, and I think I'm wearing in SeaTac, they give you brown. You're wearing your brown, and I'm wearing my shower shoes. That's all I got. And there, it's the yellow jumpsuit. So you got to go through. You got to change out from my SeaTac clothes. You got to go through your whole inspection and do. I'm sure you know. Yeah. That's real fun.
Yeah. The bend over, squat, and cough.
Yeah. Lift up your sack. Let me see what you got in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. And then they give you your yellow jumpsuits. And then I turned the corner, and it was just huge. Like, I couldn't see the end of it. It was just one big long hall. And they assigned me to a pod. So, and I walk in, and it's literally, you don't have a cell. There's no cell. It was like probably a
open bay.
Yeah, it was like probably like a 60 by 60. Yeah, just with lines of beds, and then one big TV up here. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. So there's all your beds and all the little shitters with the divider that's probably this high, so you can look to the guy next to you taking a shit and say hi.
Yeah. Or masturbating.
Yeah,
he's masturbating. Sometimes they'll bring in some lotion.
Yeah.
You
make sure you keep your blinders on, whatever you're doing. You don't want to look over ever.
Or sometimes maybe you do. Maybe you say, Tom, what are you looking at there? Come on, stop it, Cox. You know what I'm doing. What are you doing? What's all that noise? You eat macaroni?
Yeah.
What's going on, bro?
Worry about your damn self. And
can I read that later? Is that the one with what's her name in it?
Yeah.
God damn it, Cox.
So I go into this one, and I'm not approached like by the white guys this time. Like, this is just a big dorm. And so I find out this is where I'm at and where my bed is, and I'm in Nevada. I'm like, I'm like thinking, how much time do I have left? Like, I was
gonna say, half your sentence has been to transport.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, I'm at this point, I was like, I think I have probably 50 days left.
Shouldn't you be putting me in for a halfway house?
No, yeah. And so I find my bunk, and then eventually to talk to, he was white because obviously he was a skinhead, had a bunch of tattoos and blah, blah. And this place was super politicky. Like, he let me know, this is where I learned where there's the norteños and the sereños. He's like, okay, so you can associate with the Southsiders, and you can tell that they're Southsiders because they have a shaved head. The Northsiders don't, but some of them do. I was like, how the hell?
Is there a manual?
Yeah. I was like, how do you expect me to? I was like, how about I just don't associate with any of them? Then I'll be okay. And then he's like, and there's this one guy, he's mixed. He has a white mom and a black dad, so he's mixed. So he runs with us. So I just want to let you know that like that's what we're doing around here, because the pod, I think there's 10, 11 white dudes. The rest of them were north side or south siders or blacks. And
So how many people are in the unit total?
probably 40 or 50, I want to say.
This is 41st. That's 10. If 10 of them are, that's like 25% white guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
What's so funny is in prison, like having this conversation, like you can't have this conversation in the real world, because in the real world, like it's funny, you go to prison and it, like the black guys can be right next to you. You say, listen, let me tell you about the black guy. Don't talk to, I see. And they're right there. You're like, you just get off the street. You're like, bro, there's a black guy right there. Like, what are you saying, bro?
Yeah.
And then, and it's like such an issue in prison. And then you get out
and you still have
it's
that mentality.
But it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
But it's the exact, and it was so funny to people out here, like they're like, racism and prejudice. They're like, this is not racism.
No, you have no idea.
No idea what racism
No
is.
idea. But so he gives me that little bit of the lowdown, and then one morning we get it's like waffles or pancakes and little apple slices for breakfast, and they give you like a little spoonful of peanut butter. And the white / black guy, the mixed guy that ran with us, he was allergic to peanut butter, or he had a nut allergy or something. And he's like, here, you want mine? I can't have it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it, and put it on my waffle or my pancake. Ate it. And then like a couple hours later, that white dude that first talked to me about the politics and everything in there, he goes, so I saw you took some peanut butter from what's his name earlier. You know that I should beat your ass for that.
How big is this guy, by the way? Because basically, did you tell him you're like a tourist? Like I'm on vacation. This is a couple of months for me, bro. This isn't my life.
He knew that I was like, this is my first time, obviously.
Well, and it's your short time, right? You let him know, like I'm
on my way out. I've been on my way out since I got in. Right. And that's what he was like. That's what he said. He was like, so, but since I know you're new here and I know that you don't got much time, that I'm going to let this one slide. I was like, oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, thanks for that. Like, I mean, he wasn't at the time. I mean, in 2010, 2011, I mean, I was a lot smaller. I mean, he wasn't.
I was going to say, you're a pretty big guy. Like I was thinking, like, how big is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, he was a lot bigger than me.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I think after the withdrawals and everything, I started eating, I was maybe 140, 150 pounds.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And, like...
I can't imagine you at $140. Like...
Yeah. I was strung out.
You're probably, what, 170 now? 180?
No, I'm pushing almost 200.
Oh.
I think I was like 193.
Yeah. Well, it would have been a different conversation.
Yeah.
At 200 if it was at 140.
Yeah, if he said that, I would have fucking lifted him up by his neck and threw him away.
I'm much more polite to people that are 200 pounds.
Yeah. No shit. And then, so yeah, that happened. And I was like, okay, well, all right. Thank you. I understand, sir. And then I was at Pahrump for maybe a week or two. And they had, you could go outside whenever you wanted, but it was just like a fenced in area. So there was the pod, and then you could just walk out to maybe a 15 by 15, obviously gated. You could just go out there and chill. Like, there wasn't enough to play handball or anything. It was just to go outside. And me being from Alaska, like, I didn't get that much sun, so I'd just go and sit like kind of in the corner and just sit there and soak up the sun. And all the guys like, oh, hey, look at Alaska. I'm like, yeah, leave me alone. I'm just soaking up sun. I don't have anything else to do. I'm out of here. Like, what? And then, yeah, about a week later, over the PA, again, Lalonde, roll it up. I was like, where the else could I possibly going now? Like, I'm pushing under 40 days now. Like, I've been to 2. Well, if you count from FCC to Anchorage, from Anchorage to SeaTac to Pahrump, I mean, I've been to 4 different places already. And roll it up. I'm like, okay, where the fuck am I gonna go now? And then I think this time, let's see, I was in Vegas. So we took a bus this time. They didn't fly me. We took a bus all the way from Nevada, and then I ended up arriving to Sheridan, Oregon, FCI, and that's where I did the remainder of my time. And in FCI or in Sheridan, it was 3-man cells. And you have to go there first. You have to go into the classification pod. And at that time, I think I had 35 days left or something. So they couldn't classify me to put me into where I was supposed to go.
Right.
Because most guys stay in classification in that pod for a week. And in that classification pod, you're on 21-hour lockdown. Same thing. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And 3-man cells. And first couple nights, they were pulling people out and be like, okay, you're going here, and then you're going here, and then I'd get a cell to myself and be like, oh, this is nice, and then until more came in. And then so in Sheridan, they give you, of course, when you get there, I'm in another yellow jumpsuit, but they also give you a jacket with a hood, because in that particular pod or that federal detention center, it was just cold in there, and they give you jackets, and because you can go outside too, and it has a hood on there. And there was one morning there they pop the doors, and it's breakfast time, and I have my jacket on. Everybody's wearing their jackets, and a lot of them put their hood on and that doesn't matter. But I'm sitting in line, shuffling, waiting to get my breakfast. And I'm shuffling, and then I hear a CO say, hey, take off your hood. And I was like, I know there's plenty of other people wearing their hood. So I didn't pay any attention to it and kept going. Hey, did you hear me? Take off your goddamn hood. And I kind of looked back, and I was like, I know he's not talking to me that way. Yeah,
he is.
I know. He was. And I was like, I'm not going to, I don't care. I'm at the point where I was like, you can't talk to me that way. I just, no matter who you are, that's just how I felt. It got me. I was like, and so he came up and grabbed me on the shoulder, and I said, did you hear me? He said, take off your hood. And I said, I don't give a who you are. You're not going to talk to me that way. Just say, hey, can you take off your hood? Why do you give us a jacket with a hood if you don't want us to wear the hood? And he said, do you know who was asking you to do that, to take off your hood? You know who was asking you to do that? That's the warden. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, well, you're disrespecting the warden, and the warden told you to take off the hood, and that's insubordination. And I was like, I don't care. As the warden he was like a 5'2" little Mexican dude, and he's yelling at me to take off my hood. He's like, all right, well, take him to the hole. So I get sent to the hole for wearing my hood on a jacket that they give you for no reason. So I get sent to the hole, and the hole that's a whole different place. There's people screaming.
It's loud.
It's very loud. And then I learned that, after being in there, for the first day, you only get to shower 3 times a week when you're in the hole, and they bring it to you. They bring the shower to you while you're in the hole.
Okay. And, I've heard of those. Every institution's different, but yeah. So it's on wheels, right? They wheel it to you.
Yeah. And you only get 3 showers a week. Obviously you're in the hole. You're not allowed to do anything. And I went in there with some dude that I was by myself for the first couple of days. Then they moved me again. And then I get into this cell that's withdrawing from coffee.
Withdrawing from coffee, from caffeine.
Yeah, because he said he would drink those little instant packs that you get, little blue ones. I think he said he was going through 3 of those a day. And he's just laying in bed with the migraines and shitting himself all the time on the toilet. And it was, it was horrible during that. I mean, but when he was sleeping, like I had time to. It was actually kind of peaceful in a weird way, and being so secluded. It's weird what your mind can adapt to so easily. Like,
you understand? I've done your entire sentence in the shoe.
Yeah, really.
13 years.
I did 45 days one time. I mean, I know guys that have done 6 months.
Oh
year,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but it's insane that what your mind can just makes it okay.
Yeah. No, you can adapt to pretty much anything.
Yeah, and I felt comfort and solace in being alone all the time.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, this is nice. And then I started writing. I started doing like just writing my life story and like what I've been through, and like I started having like, you know, idea that maybe I should, you know, make an autobiography or something, or
right. Write a memoir.
A memoir, yeah. Because to me, I mean, it's a big story. To other people, I mean, it's small, but like to me, I went through a lot of shit, and after I was only in the hole for a week. I got back to the classification one, and there was this older dude that I talked to him here and there, and like I liked to listen to the radio, of course. And he's like, I got an extra radio if you want to use it, because I know you're only going to be here for what? He's like 2 more weeks. He's like, you can keep it. And I ended up having a cell to myself for the remaining 3 weeks, I think, that I had there. And they started the breakfast, lunch, and dinner hour, and then between those 3 hours, they would let you out for a half hour. So I was on 20-hour lockdown instead of 21. And I was just walking around on the tier, and then I had this I think he might have been a North Sider, I'm not sure, but he had like a big tattoo of like, you know, like the Georgia Bulldog or whatever he had on his chest, and he was
animal lover.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, and he loved to talk, and I mean, I like to listen, so we just walk around, and he'd bullshit, and we'd talk, and then blah blah blah. And then the old dude, he was doing my laundry for me, like he was just, because he was a worker in that facility, so he was allowed to be out the whole time.
Yeah, a lot of guys will do that just to be able to be out of the cell. Like,
yeah.
Your time goes so much faster if you're working than if you're just laying in your fucking bunk the whole time.
Yeah, and I, of course, I hated reading before I went in, and then I ended up reading, you know, a bunch of books while I was in there, and then I would listen to the radio, and I had the window was probably about this big, probably about 3 feet tall, and I'd just sit out there and listen to my music, and you can see who's coming in for where I was. You could see all the new arrivals and everything, and then towards I think it was my second to the last day, the guy that I was walking around with, that I would talk to all the time with the big tattoo, I mean, he was pretty big, scary looking dude, but he was funny. Like, he's like, hey, you got a new cellie? I was like, oh. I was like, come on. I almost had it. I almost had my cell to myself the rest of the time. And I walk in there, and it's this pudgy little just white dude, never been in trouble in his life. He got caught for embezzlement because he worked at a bank, and he got like 48 months or something. First time, never seen jail. He was petrified. He was so scared. I walked in there. He was like, hey, is it okay if I put my stuff here? Because it's a 3-man cell. There's 2 bunks right here, and then there's a single bed. And of course, I want the bottom bunk. I was like, you can sleep on that one. I don't care. You can take the top. I don't give a shit.
If you sleep hot at night, you know how disruptive that can be. Whether you're having trouble falling asleep, you're waking up sweating in the middle of the night, or all of the above. That's where GhostBed can help. As the makers of the coolest beds in the world, GhostBed is your go-to for cooling mattresses, cooling pillows, and cooling bedding. From their signature Ghost Ice fabric to patented technology that adjusts to your body's temperature, every Ghost Bed mattress is designed with cooling in mind. So whether you want a plusher mattress that cushions your shoulders and hips, or a firm option with exceptional support, your Ghost Bed will keep you cool and comfortable all night long. When you purchase a Ghost Bed mattress, your comfort is guaranteed. You can try out your mattress for 101 nights, risk-free, to make sure it's the right fit for you. Plus, they offer free shipping, and most items are shipped within 24 hours. If you're not sure which Ghost Bed is right for you, check out their mattress quiz. You'll answer a few questions and get a personalized recommendation. Even better, our listeners can get 50% off site-wide for a limited time. Just visit ghostbed.com/Cox and use the code COX at checkout. Again, that's ghostbed.com/Cox with the code COX at the checkout to save a whopping 50% off site-wide.
I would have had a blast with that guy.
So I'd have
been like, so have they you yet?
So the dude that I was walking around with, he's like, you want me to with him? And I was like, dude, oh yeah, okay, let's see, let's go ahead. So he walks in there, opens the door. He's like, hey man, you owe me my money. You got my money. I know you stole my money. He's like backing up, and he's like, no, I swear I didn't do it. And he's like, I'm just with you, man. And then I grabbed that dude. I was like, all right, that's enough. He's gonna shit himself. And I was like, so this is I'm getting out tomorrow. I'm gonna give you all the the rules and regulations of what you should and shouldn't do. And he's like all night till like 12, 1. He's like, well, what do I do this? Or who do I talk to? Or where can I sit? Or like, I was like, just keep to your own, man. Like, just, you don't want to get in a car. You don't want to do any of that shit. Like, you don't want to get involved. I can tell by the way you look and what you're doing. I don't think you're
soft as gone.
Yeah. And
hard like me, baby. See? Not running that place.
Right, like you were in the last one?
Oh man. So, and then that morning they're getting ready for release. So I think it was like 8:00. And it was like a female CO, and she was like, she's like, oh, Matthew, are you ready to go? And I was like, yeah, let's get the hell out of here. And they give me... And
You're damn right I'm ready to go, boo.
Say no more.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so they give you, I didn't have any clothes, so of course you get your gray sweatpants, your white tee, and your fake Chucks. And I think I got $120 that they gave me.
They gave you $120?
Yeah. They got to fly me back to Alaska from Oregon.
What? Huh? But you said they gave you money, though.
Yeah. It was their not farewell, but it's like...
Was anybody...
It's gate money.
Gate money? I don't get gate money. I didn't get any gate money. I was locked up 13 years. I didn't get gate money.
Oh,
I got a good life to you, bro.
That sucks for you, then.
My God. Was anybody putting money on your books when you were locked up? Like your parents putting money on your books? Or
No, not so much. I mean, they did sometimes, but my mom, of course, wanted to talk to me, and I couldn't because she would break down every time. She's just, I just want you to do better. I hope you can make it. And my dad just...
He's fine.
Yeah, just let the kid do his time. He'll get out and figure it out. And then, so I get out, I'm walking out, and I can hear everybody banging on the windows because they can see me walking out. And I go to the van, and he's wearing like prisoner or oranges. And I was like, you're my driver? He's like, yeah, because it's a camp. Yeah. So like, I had no idea that they would let a prisoner drive me 30 miles away to the airport.
They put Jess on a bus and let her drive her or go to the other, like they gave her a voucher, her and a bunch of girls. They got to go hang out for a couple of days and showed up at the prison when they wanted to. Not really. I mean, they had a time today to be there. But they hung out. They went on a bus. Where'd you stop? Atlanta,
Tennessee. We stopped in Nashville.
No, they caught a show. No, they didn't catch on. I'm joking about the show, but still.
Went to a couple bars.
It's ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah, I did not have any idea that they would have.
You fuckers had a different experience than I had. There was no gate money for me.
Yeah.
Nobody gave me a bus ticket. I would have loved to ride the bus.
You got.
Jesus.
And then before I went in, I was a smoker, so I was like, he's like, "Yo, do you want me to stop anywhere?" I was like, "Yes, let's go get some cigarettes." And I bought a pack of cigarettes, bought a lighter, took one drag, and coughed my ass off. And I was like, "Okay, well,
I'm over that."
Yeah, I don't want to smoke cigarettes if I'm not smoked up on opiates, so that's gone." And then I get to the airport, and they have a Nike shop in there, and I was wearing my white tee. And they gave me the money, and I was like, I'm going to get a black Nike sweatshirt so I don't look like I just got out of prison. And then I got some Burger King, and then got on my flight.
Fucking Burger King.
Yeah. And I got on my flight, and they told me, of course, you need to report to your federal probation officer within 24, 48 hours or something. And I report, and as soon as I get there, my federal PO that she was assigned to, when she saw me, because she saw my inmate card, and like I had my head shaved, and she's like, I was really worried about you in there because your picture looks really bad. Like, you look like you were having a very hard time. I was like, I mean, I was, but I mean, not really. She's like, so are you doing okay? I was like, yeah.
What's going on? Who'd they give you for a PO? My PO was constantly going to throw me back in prison. She hated my guts.
They were probably the nicest POs that I've ever dealt with. You could just go to Alaska, you guys.
Oh my God.
And then, I report to her. And she says, well, of course, you need to get a job and you do this, blah, blah, blah. Check in once a month. And I had 5 years. 5 years of federal probation. Did not up once. Did absolutely, like, the last year, she's like, or last almost 2 years, she's like, you can check in every 4 months, I think. She's like, you can check in every 4 months, and you don't even have to come in. Just call and check in. Because I was passing all my piss tests. I was working. I was doing everything right.
Passed all my piss tests. I had to take a year worth of criminal behavior modification classes with a psychiatrist once a week for an hour. And while I was twice a month being piss tested, I didn't even have a drug charge.
Jeez. God, man.
I'm still on federal probation. It's been 3 years. I just got denied. I tried to get off early. You know, they said no. They're holding a grudge. It's resentment, is what it is. They're irritated. They're up. I'm 6 million. But it's, they're holding it against me. But anyway,
I could see why.
You had a vastly different experience. But
yeah.
So,
well, okay.
You gotta PO this, like giving you like hugs and say you're okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. There was only 2 of them, and they were both female. So it was like, it was. Yeah. It was
blonde hair, blue eyes. Didn't. Yeah. That probably went a long way with them. I'm sure.
Yeah, it did. She was pretty attractive too. Anyway, hope she doesn't see this. So I did that. I finished it without a hiccup, and that was 5 years. And then I lasted about 1 year off being probation. So at that time,
you lasted 1 year.
I lasted.
What?
So
what does that mean?
Hold on. I lasted 1 year after being off probation without up again. So
I mean, like I relapsing. Okay.
Yep. So I relapsed, and during those 5 years, I was working at a very, very good business. I had a truck, a car, a place. Like I had two vehicles of my own place, and I was doing very, very well for myself. Like I felt like I was like I did it. I told myself when I was walking out of Sheridan, like, I'm never going to touch that shit ever again because it ruined my life. Like, I have this stain on my record now, and it's going to haunt me forever. And I was like, I'm going to do everything within my power to try to turn my life around. And I did it for 5 years, and I thought I had it licked. I thought, I did it. Like, right. I came out. And that's the funny thing about addicts is like, I mean, one change of thought, like, and you're done. And so at that time, like I said, I think it was like 6 years. I had my own place, and I woke up one morning, and I had my closeted mirrors, and next to my bed, and I swung my legs over, and I just have this distinct memory of like, I looked at myself, and I just said, I'm not happy. Like, I have everything that I could possibly want materially, but I don't have. I feel unfulfilled. There's a hole somewhere, and I just said it. Literally, I said it, and I was like, I'm on a mission to go find whatever I can find, and get high because I'm not happy. I want to feel happy. There's something missing, and that within that day, of course, I found, and within the first week, I found the needle, and then I started becoming an intravenous user, and then within the second week, I figured out I can mix meth and in the same syringe, and then put that in my vein. Holy shit! That's the best feeling I've ever had, and within probably, I would say, a month and a half to 2 months of me shooting meth into every vein that I had in my body, I had no money again. My car went to shit. My truck went to shit. It came to the point where I was having to steal shit, and then
No gas card.
no more gas cards, so I had to figure out some other way. So I would go to like empty like construction sites and steal all their tools, and then pawn them off and trade them for meth or whatever. And there was a construction site where we took a bunch of stuff, and then there was this it was like a heater that, like, when it's under construction in Alaska, they have these big, huge heaters that you can put it under the under a tarp, and it'll heat the entire place. And we didn't have a place to put it, and it was me and two other people, and I put it on the top of his truck with no straps, no nothing, and we went down the street, and hopefully it didn't roll off. And we put all the tools and everything inside my house, and I brought a bunch of stuff to one of my dealers. I got like 3 or 4 grams of and a couple grams of meth for just these tools.
The guy's running a pawn shop.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then some of them I took to the pawn shop as well, under my name. Like, I just didn't give a shit anymore. Like, I don't, like, I'm going to get caught eventually. So like, let's just do it. Let's get it over with. That was my mindset. Like, and within, like I said, after about 2 months, I had 3 or 4 cops banging on my door with a warrant, and I opened it. Like, I was like halfway out of it. I woke up on my couch, like, with, I think, like a needle still stuck in my arm, and opened the door, and they like grabbed my arm, took me out, and put him in the car, and started searching my house, and found all the tools and all this other shit, and booked me back into FCC, and then they charged me with the mix 4, which is like in possession of drugs, a burglary 2, and then a theft 2. So I ended up pleading out to the theft 2, and so that would be my second felony. I was looking at.
Is this state though?
This is state now, yeah. And I think that she told me I was looking at 3 years. I was like, I made $21,000, and I went to the feds, and they gave me 3 months, and I took $3,000 worth of construction stuff, and I'm looking at potentially 3 years. And so what they did is they did 2 years, 1 suspended, and then 4 years probation. So the state prison in Alaska is Goose Creek, and that's state and federal prisons. I mean, they're vastly different.
Yeah.
Vastly. And then so in Alaska, you don't have a bunch of Mexicans or anything running around. It's a lot of whites, blacks, and natives, and that's it. And in Goose Creek, you're allowed to wear whatever you want as long as you have one article of yellow clothing. Like if you can wear your jeans, you can wear the shoes that you came with, you can order your shoes off East Bay or whatever. You can get all kinds of shit.
You just need a yellow T-shirt.
Yep. Or you just put on a yellow hat. Anything. But then, I mean, if you get nice shoes, you're gonna get jumped for your shoes. Like I've seen guys getting jumped for their shoes all the time. It's ridiculous.
I won't wear nice shoes then.
No, and I didn't.
And not for long.
And no. And so while I was in that prison, so it's like one long stretch right here, and then this is in the middle. That's the yard, and then right here is like A, B, C, D, E, F pods, and come like breakfast time when they announce it, you have to go from your pod across the yard at 6 o'clock in the morning at 30 below, and you have to sprint to go get your breakfast. Like it's horrible.
How much time did you get though? 3 years?
They did 2 years,
2 years.
1 suspended. So, and then with good time, you do 8 months.
Okay, I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was there for 8 months, and then still, I mean, that 8 months that's not that long. You get into your routine. You start going to the gym. They had a track, and then I had a couple friends that I hung out with. I mean, it was all the time that I did. It was easy. I mean, I learned in state, like, okay, so in Goose Creek, you have a card for your door. Like, it's only your card that opens your door.
So you have your own cell.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have one cellie, but both of you only have the lock or the card that unlocks your door.
Right. Like a hotel room.
Pretty much. And then you learn, because you have a glass window that's probably about 5 by 5 that you can see into your cell. And I learned very quickly, you don't want to look into people's cells because you don't want to see shit that you don't want to see.
Right.
And yeah, I learned that real quick. And then, so I ended up getting a cellie that had a TV, and that he worked all the time.
He had a TV?
Yeah, he had a TV.
In prison?
Yes. Dude, I'm telling you, guys need to go to Alaska. What the hell?
Wow.
Yeah, he had a...
Blue jeans, tennis shoes, and TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Okay. But it's cold.
It's cold, yeah.
I'm not good with the cold.
No. I mean, either, but I'm not good with the heat
either, bro.
No.
It's just as miserable with here.
No, I was trying to change my tire, and I was dripping in sweat. And then Hannah, she was like, "You need to stop. Like, I'll take over from here because it looks like you're about to die."
Jess works outside all day. I don't know what she's thinking.
No, the first job that I took here was landscaping.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And I got heat stroke twice the first week I was here.
I don't like walking from the front door to my car.
Dude, if you walk outside in Alaska and it's 40 below and you walk out, your face just freezes. It just
40 below. I can't even imagine.
It takes your breath away. Like, and your face.
What 40 below is. I've never experienced anything like that.
I don't recommend it. I wouldn't do it. But you walk out and you're like, your face freezes, and then if you're out there for too long, like your lips will start to like it's so weird because your lips will get stuck, and then it gets harder to talk. And it's not fun. But then comparatively to walking out here and now, like, I'm instantly sweating.
Yeah.
It sucks. Anyways, State prison.
Your key.
He worked a lot. I think he was in the kitchen, so he'd go for 2 hours at breakfast, 2 hours at lunch, 2 hours at dinner. And so I'd sit there and I'd watch Ridiculousness. I'd sit there and watch the reruns of Ridiculousness every single day. And then I would go, they had a gym. They didn't have any free weights, so it was all cables and pull-up bars and dip bars and...
There's no Nautilus equipment in federal prison. There's no free weights. There's nothing, none of that stuff.
No.
There's no, but I mean, in federal prison, there's no like equipment.
No.
You guys, because we had free weights and machines.
You were at camp.
Yeah, camps. At camps, because I saw the entire like layout of the gym when I was coming into Sheridan on the bus, and I saw it. There was like free weights, a bench, everything.
So unfair. You're burglarizing places. She's running a meth ring. I filled out some paperwork. I was in there with guys. I was in there with serial killers and shit. I used to have lunch with the guy that killed like 11 people.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm sure he was a really nice guy.
he was. Well, yeah, I mean, he was nice to me.
Yeah,
he was old now. He's pretty much feeble and not able to kill me. But I'm sure he would have. There were times he wanted to kill me. I saw it in his face.
Yeah, you could tell.
So yeah. Anyway,
sorry. I met a lot of really nice murderers.
No. They have a low recidivism rate too. One of the lowest. Like they almost get out, almost never do it again.
Yeah,
I mean almost.
It sometimes depends on but like I said, watch TV, go to the gym. I would at the last month, I would say, that I was there. They pulled me over to the booking side, and they had me sign paperwork. They were going to send me to a halfway house in Anchorage, and I go to the halfway house in Anchorage, and I end up getting on the utility maintenance crew. So the maintenance crew has the top level of the halfway house, which is like the penthouse suite, because it has a big screen TV, it has a couch, and then you have 3 different rooms, and you get your own room. And the guy,
I had 9 guys in the house. I was the only white guy with 8 black guys. I was the only white guy in the halfway house in my room. There were 9 people in a room.
I bet that was uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable. I used to listen. And the cops, when they would come around to count, they would be like, "Cox, you okay? You okay?" I'd be like, we need some diversity in here. You know what I'm saying? And but there was never any diversity.
It's kind of dark in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, so I go to the halfway house, and then I realize that they have a lot of Suboxone in there, and
You've got a problem,
dude. Yeah, you think? And
my God.
And so then I found a guy that had meth, and they have Suboxone, and I have 2 or 3 weeks left at this halfway house, and they call me down for a UA. Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Don't they know?
God. I have a problem. I accepted the fact that I was going to be just like this career like criminal, just a repeat offender. That's what I accepted my life as being. Like I'm just, I have no worth anymore. I have no oomph, no desire to. I feel like I have everything up.
How old were you
during state?
When in the halfway house?
When I was in the halfway house, I was. So this was in 2016, 17, 18. So I was 27.
Oh yeah, 27. It's too late to turn your life around at 27. You might as well just kill yourself.
Yeah.
What is going on? Anyway, Jesus. I mean, try starting over at 50. I spit on that thing.
Yeah, you almost got me.
Jesus.
It just, you get a feeling of being just so defeated. It just.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Shut up.
You're 27.
Yeah.
He's like 27, 5'10", blonde hair, blue eyes, good looking. I mean, oh my God. Mine is over.
Obviously, I have some confidence problems.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you.
And it's hard for people that aren't addicts to understand. Like, there's one.
I have things I deal with. I mean, I do. Like, it's hard to look like this. It's hard. Like, life's not easy. You look like this. Like, people constantly, women call you all the time. It's, people want to just give you money. People just, I mean, it's hard to look away from mirrors. I have issues.
Yeah.
I have an addiction. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Go ahead. I hear you.
There was one story that, so.
This is not how you thought this was going to go.
But I love this. It's funny. This is fun. There was she asked me. She was like, so why didn't you like when you would get your drugs? Why didn't you just wait till you get home?
She is the girlfriend.
That I'm telling this to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, because these guys don't know that there's a girl. There's a girlfriend over here that looks like she just got off a boat from Norway.
Yeah.
Blonde hair, blue eyed, fair skin, very pretty, tall, tatted. Whole thing.
She's Viking.
Viking. Yeah. Straight Nordic.
Yeah. So she asked me that. She's like, why don't you just wait until you get home till you did your drugs? And like to somebody that's not an addict, like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But to an addict, you like, once you get your drugs, you want it now. I'm gonna pull over and I'm gonna put it in my jugular vein. Like that's just how I was wired. That's how I am.
No, but that's how all of them are like that.
Yeah. And
it's like they're like pick up the drugs at the drug dealer's house and can't make it the 4 miles to get home.
No, I'm doing it right there. Then it's okay. Anyways, that was
conversation. That was it.
Yeah.
So halfway house, failed the UA.
Failed the UA, and I was like, so when am I going to go back? And she's like, honestly, I don't know, probably another week before we can get you processed. And I was like, oh, that's cool because by then I'll have 2 days left.
Yeah.
So
that'll be the plane flight there.
Yeah.
And back.
Yeah. So it was literally like 6 days later. They're like, okay, yeah, you need to go back since you failed your UA. So I go to Anchorage.
Are you serious for 2 days? Stupid.
I go to Anchorage jail for 2 days. And so I thought that I was going to get I thought they were going to give me, what's it called? Just like a write-up, like where they could take away your good time.
Right.
They could. I managed to. They were going to give me a write up for failing the UA while I was at the UA or at the halfway house.
But they suspended you said they suspended a year or something like that?
It was 2 years. Yeah, 2 years, one suspended.
So can't they now give you that? Or that's if you commit another crime, not a failure of a UA.
No. They could take away my good time though.
Okay.
So which I accrued good. I had never gotten in trouble. So they could have been like, oh, well, I'm going to give you another 7 days. But I beat the paperwork out the door, so to speak. So like they were getting ready to process and be like, hey, you got in trouble for failing your UA. But I beat it out the door. So I walk out of Anchorage jail and I get a plane ticket and then I get back to Fairbanks and
no gate money.
No gate money this time. No, nothing. And I didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, at that point, I had really had no contact with anybody.
Mom and dad? No, done.
No, they didn't. They didn't trust me. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
With all this shit. So I walked from the airport. There was a friend of mine, Luke, that lived pretty close there. And I mean, I just walked up and he was like, well, you just got out of jail, didn't you? I was like, yeah, and I don't have anything. I have the clothes on my back and that's it. And I was like, can I try to reestablish something here? Like, can I stay with you? He's like, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. And still, after still going through all this shit, I still wasn't ready. I still didn't come to the realization that drugs are my life and that I had a problem. So I'm on 4 years of probation now from my second felony, state probation. And
now in the story or now?
In the story. Okay. Yeah, I've been off state and federal probation for a few years now. And I'm staying with him and I get a car from somebody and then I met somebody in jail that got out at around the same time I did, and I saw him and he looked like shit and obviously he was on drugs, and I asked him where he can get it, obviously, and totally, absolutely insane to think that like I can continue to do what I was doing and make something of myself. Like I'm just hurting myself. So like I called my mom and she met me in town. It was after I got out of state prison, and she was crying. She was happy to see me and everything. And she's like, I wish I could take you home, but we can't.
Right.
We can't right now. You need to figure it out. And it took so the way that Alaska's probation is, you get your first PTR, petition to revoke probation, you get 3 days. Your second is 5 days. Your third is 10 days. After you get your fourth, you can get up to the rest of your time. So after my first 2 weeks of being out, I already had my first PTR for failed UA. And then second one, I was like out of area or something. I wasn't where I was supposed to be.
All right.
The third one, I was walking down, I think it might have been University or Airport Road, and it was still like probably 20, 30 below. And I had found a truck that I had keys. I had a lot of keys that I acquired through.
You found a truck.
I was keeping an eye on a truck in this parking lot that I may or may not have been able to steal. And that my idea is that I'm going to take this and I'm going to take it to my dealer and
The pawn shop.
yeah,
Pawn the truck.
on the truck.
Yeah.
And UAF, it's a University of Fairbanks police. They put their light on me, and they're like, "Are you Lalonde?" And I was like,
What are you, infamous?
"No." Like my PO, dude. She, bless her heart, she really wanted she was really trying to help me, and I just didn't want the help. I was a maniac in my own head, and I didn't want anybody's help. I was committed to just getting high like everybody else. My life's not worth living, like we were joking about earlier, but that's how I felt. So this is my third probation violation. So I'm about to, if I get one more, I'm gonna get the rest of my time. I'm not trying to do another year. I'm done with this shit. And
Are ya?
yeah.
It doesn't sound like you are. I mean, it sounds like you want to go back. But yeah, okay, I hear you.
And so they picked me up, and I'm doing my 10 days. And then on my 9th day, I call.
Are you still staying with your buddy?
Yeah.
Like you keep going to jail, coming back, sleeping on the couch?
Yeah.
That. I'd be like, bro, done. Here's your shit.
I know.
It's in bags.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I mean, he's been through a lot of the same shit that I was. And like, he helped, but I mean, also in the same sense, he was also enabling me, of course.
Right.
And on my 9th day, I had this old native dude. He had revolver tattoos on each arm, and then he had like his feather tattoos like up here, and he had really long gray black hair, like really like hardcore, what you would if you think of a native, that's what he looked like. Super skinny. And I was talking to him, and he said that he knew my dad, and he's like, "Your dad, he saved my life." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, he saved my life by showing me that there's more to life than just drinking or drugging your life away. And he's like, "What would it take? What's it gonna take for you, or what are you willing to do to get clean?" And I was like, "At this point, anything. I will do anything." And he's like, "Okay, well, remember that. Remember, you're willing to do anything to get clean." And so I can call my counselor to go upstairs so I can use their phone, because it's my ninth day I'm about to get out. And they need to know where are you staying?
Yeah, where are you going?
Yeah, what's your address when you get out? What are you gonna do? And I told her, I was like, I don't have anywhere. She's like, well, you got to have something. So I call my dad. And I was like, Dad, I'm at the point in my life where if I get out of here, I'm going to overdose. I'm going to die. I'm either going to die by overdose, or I'm going to do something else stupid, and I'm going to end up just doing the rest of I'm going to do more time, and I'm going to continue down this path that I feel like do not want to do anymore. I want to change, and I need your help. And he goes, I was expecting that call. I was expecting for you to call, and I was talking to Mom about it. And he's like, what time are you getting out tomorrow? I was like, 8 p.m. He's like, all right, well, I'll be there. I was like, whew, okay, I appreciate it. Like, thank you. So I get out, and he's sitting there waiting, and he's stoic. That was the word that I was trying to find a long time ago. Very stoic, and he's hard to read because he's mellow. Like he's easy to talk to. But that whole ride there, it was very quiet. And he's like, and it was towards like when we were getting home. He's like, there's going to be a lot of rules, and there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to do to show and prove us that you're willing to do anything to get and stay clean. So that's what I did. I got plugged into a support network and like-minded people that have the same problems.
The AA or
I just a 12-step kind of deal. And I got to realize and see that like I had an old friend from like high school at the time. He had like 5 years clean. And then some other dude that I used to get high with, he had like 3 years clean. And then another old buddy of mine had 7 or 8 years. And they're like on they have houses, and they have like wives now. Like I feel like I'm so behind on life after doing all this shit. Like they're so far ahead of me, and I'm comparing. What I'm doing is I'm comparing their outsides to my insides. Is what I'm doing. Like I'm just seeing all this stuff that they've acquired and getting down on myself. But I got plugged in, and I went to these support meetings and stuff for every single day. For they recommend doing like a 90 and 90, but I think I did probably 140 or something every single day. And then I just kept going, and eventually like built trust obviously back into my parents. And after going to those and like really kind of digging deep into myself and realizing my thinking and thinking that I'm so unique and so different than everybody else, I really wasn't. And that I have a problem that I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life. I just need to learn to keep it at bay. And so that's over 3.5 years ago now. So I've been without any substance for over 3 years, coming up on 4 years on December 2nd. Yeah.
You moved to Florida.
We moved to Florida a year and a half ago. Never moved anywhere else. Never been anywhere else. We were both born and raised in North Pole, Fairbanks, Alaska. And at first, like mostly her, wanted to go to Florida. And she was looking at Tallahassee, and I was like, we talked to a few people, and they're like, it's just a big college town. You don't want to go there. And then, but we knew that going further south, it's going to be more expensive. And at the time, I mean, we didn't have a lot of money, but we had enough to get out. And I was like, well, why don't we try, Jacksonville? And then we got there and realized that it's, not what it's all. I mean, it's kind of the hood. It's kind of hood up there.
Yeah.
So now we're planning our next escape.
Yeah.
But I was been on probation since I was pretty much 18 years old. I wasn't allowed to leave the state. And
right.
Now I'm 33, and I want to, figure out, like, I want to travel. I want to see what there is out there. I want to experience life because I'm a little late now because I got up between all my 20s and everything. And that's where we're at now. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to figure out like where I fit, where I sink in. And I ended up getting my first year sober. It's called a forensic peer specialist. It's helping people that are incarcerated find other opportunities, get their insurance, like food stamps, and try to help them out because they've never done that shit before. Mm-hmm. And then I got my CDC-1, chemical dependency counselor, level 1. And that was my main, that's what I wanted to do when we came here. And I had like 7 or 8 interviews with rehabs, and as soon, like right after, they're like, I want you, we want you, yes. And they were like, how's your record? And I told them what's on there, how long ago, and they're like, oh, that shouldn't be an issue. I mean, I'm not a violent, but I don't have any violent crimes, none of that shit. And
yeah, it's one of the few careers where it's an attribute.
Yeah, like, I mean, they want people with lived experience. Like, trust me, I've lived it. Like, I know what it feels like. And then they'd be like, well, you have to be off probation for longer than this, or blah, blah, blah.
So, well, what are you doing now?
Right now, I mean, I work at a performance shop, engine shop. I'm kind of, what my boss calls me is the conductor. I mean, I'm just the service writer, the conductor, the manager. I mean, I make sure that everything we have a machine shop side, then we have a mechanic side. And then, so we have an engine builder, and then people that do all the machinists on the head. And then one of the machinists actually just a few days ago, he's like, hey, we want to show you how to build this. And I was like, yeah, sure. So we do a lot of performance stuff. And then we do the mechanic, just basic, your brakes, your oil change, whatever. But that's just what I'm doing now. Like that's just what's keeping me afloat. It's not what my heart desires. Right. I don't think. I mean, I enjoy it, but that's not my calling. Right. Like I have a calling for something, and I still have yet to figure it out. There it is. Yeah. Stay-at-home dad. But you won't let me have kids with you yet.
So.
Too young. It's not my fault you dated a 22-year-old.
Well, stop taking your birth control.
So right now, basically, we're wrapping up anyway. You're living in Florida. You're waiting out the time for you to reapply and be, I'm going to say drug treatment specialist. What do you call it?
Chemical dependency counselor.
Yeah, it does sound better than lunch lady, right? It sounds like, what is it, like, what do they call them? Nutritional specialist, isn't it? Yeah. It's not. All right, so that's a good one. That's good. What is it called?
Chemical dependency counselor.
Wow, that sounds important,
doesn't it?
It's just like, come on, just playing. Jesus, bro, it's difficult.
It is.
These chicks, you know.
Yeah,
they're a pain, really.
Yes,
you know. So yeah. So okay. So cool. So you're doing okay, right? Mm-hmm. You're doing good.
Yeah. I've been doing the clean thing, and I mean, I don't have the want to dive into that world anymore. It's just, I mean, I don't want to say I've grown out of it or something. Or it's something that you got to take day by day. I mean, I just want to be better than I was, the person that I was yesterday. Like I'm slowly but surely, I'm trying to get my life back on track. I'm pretty sure that I'm worlds apart from where I was. When I tell people the shit that I've been through, that I used to shoot up meth and heroin into my jugular and all this stuff, they're like, I could never see you doing that. Right. Like, there's no way. Like, you didn't do that. I was like, yeah, I mean, I got track marks to prove. Well, not anymore, but it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Like, it's nobody. When I was doing drugs and stuff, and like, I was a horrible person, horrible, and I have no want to ever be that way again. It's terrible, really. I gotcha. I got to take it day by day, and I don't want to be like that. I'm trying to create something with somebody that I love, and
she's back in Jacksonville. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, like 33. I mean, you figure I feel like I should be getting my shit together and getting life started. And that's, you know, that's kind of my goal. Is I don't want to be in Jacksonville anymore. That's for sure. I want to get back over to maybe like the Northwest somewhere where they can have 4 seasons and you don't walk outside and instantly start sweating. Yeah, somewhere up there. Back to Alaska though. I can't do that shit.
I lived in Tennessee for about a year and a half. It's nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
You get snow in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Not much.
No.
You know, they don't get much. You get, and maybe only for a month or two. But but it's nice.
Yeah, I had a snowplowing company while I was in Alaska, and I mean, shit, I raked in a lot of money doing that. A lot. Like all you got to do is have a plow and a truck. That's it. And do commercial and residential driveways.
I think there's enough snow.
No. That's why I want to go for like further northwest, like Montana or Utah, Colorado. Colorado's kind of expensive, but
listen, there's drug addicts everywhere.
Yeah, there is. That's why I got to stay away from them. Or
I thought you're supposed to be a counselor.
Yeah, that's what I say. Or help them.
Yeah.
If I ever find a place that's willing to, I mean,
I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it's getting off probation.
I've been on probation.
Oh, I mean, sorry, the length of time.
Yeah.
What is it? 4 years?
It was 6 or 7 years. Yeah, and I'm coming up on 7. Yeah. So jeez. I just need to get plugging along, and I just, you know, keep the drive. And everybody that I talked to, that I did the interview with too, that said, then when they said that they wanted me, they're like, just because you have one more year to wait, don't let that fade. Like, you have it in you. Like, you have the want to help people, and we can see it, and we want that kind of person. We want the person with lived experience that's been through it, because nobody wants to talk to somebody that's not an addict or hasn't had a drug problem and book read and diagnose them with something, or it's just, you can't relate to somebody that way.
All right, I appreciate you guys watching. Do me a favor, if you like the videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this, and leave me a comment. I appreciate you guys watching, and thank you very much, and I will see you.